Northern Saskatchewan, rugged, remote, unspoiled and unforgiving. Here, waterways teeming with fish spill over thundering waterfalls and wind through taiga and northern boreal forests. In late August and early September, my wife Tori, our dog Buck and I spent 14 days paddling northern Saskatchewan's Porcupine River. Along the way, we'd encountered everything from exciting whitewater rapids and treacherous portages to bad weather and bears. This is the story of our adventure. Our trip begins with a long drive through Ontario, Manitoba, and into Saskatchewan, where we'll head way up north to the end of the road at Stony Rapids. We're just at the beginning of about 9 hours on gravel right now. There's about 6 hours between points north and Stony Rapids where there's no place to get gas, there's no cell phone service, and so you really got to be self-sufficient. You got to make sure that you have enough fuel. We brought in jerry cans, we brought in a tire plug kit, air compressor to inflate the tire, a full-size spare. So these things are really important, especially having a reliable vehicle. We have a diesel Mitsubishi Pajero. It's a four-wheel drive, and you know, these vehicles are meant to be driven. We are in Stony Rapids, Saskatchewan, and our float plane charter leaves in 1 hour. So we're gonna go over to the float plane base. We're gonna go through our stuff, make sure we have everything we need, and load the plane. We're taking a Twin Otter, which is really exciting.
It's huge.
That's what she said.
He doesn't like stairs.
Okay, here we go. Got my ear protection in. We're flying out to Selwyn Lodge. We're well past the road system now, and this is real wilderness. It's an amazing feeling to look out over this beautiful country that remains unaltered by the hands of man. We land at remote Selwyn Lodge where our trip finally begins. We start by crossing Selwyn Lake until we reach the flow of the Porcupine River. The plan is to follow the Porcupine to the confluence of the Fond du Lac and then continue on to the community of Black Lake. With any luck, we should be done this trip in 14 days. We did a bunch of open water crossings on Selwyn Lake, and now we're camped here at the mouth of the Porcupine River. Bugs aren't too bad, a few black flies though, to be expected, but a lot of berries around here, a lot of blueberries. We're just getting camp set up, getting some firewood cut, and I'm gonna grab a bite to eat, and it looks like a pretty nice spot here. So day 2, and after being really exhausted, we slept in, and so we're deciding to eat lunch instead of breakfast. What is that? Summer sausage, ready crisp bacon, cheese, and mustard?
Yep.
Amazing. We got some pretty serious rapids to deal with today. Now I'm really excited to give this whitewater boat a test. This is a 16.6 Novacraft Moisey, which is a specific whitewater boat. And now we're gonna bomb a steep and bouldery class 2, first rapid of the trip, and get those pre-rapid jitters out of us, because we're gonna have a lot more whitewater to come. And what's Buck gonna do?
He's gonna run alongside of the portage trail. He'll meet us at the end. He's actually a little worried that we're gonna go without him, I think.
size one.
Whoa! There's another nice one. Yeah, we got to a gorgeous campsite on Offset Lake, of course, on the Porcupine River system. And just before getting to camp, we caught a really nice pike too. It looks like a good eater, so looking forward to a good meal.
Almost piece off there.
Here's how to set up a tarp with no trees. You peg down the back of the tarp to the ground or put rocks along the back, and you tie the ends to paddles and use guy lines to run from the top of the paddles and then peg them into the ground. And you put one paddle or stick in the middle to hold it all up.
That's gonna be for dinner.
Drinking some of Tori's famous hot chocolate and rye whiskey.
Famous.
Not a nice morning here on the Porcupine River. We're just going to choke down some oatmeal here and some coffees and get out on the river. We have a pretty easy day ahead of us and some beautiful scenery too, so looking forward to finally getting on the water.
So, long, horrible day of paddling, made good distance, and it just freaking hammered rain all day. We're both soaked, you know, your raincoat, it only does so much, it seems like, and water starts getting in the cracks. I'm wet, I'm cold. Good news is we're making time today because there's actually some current in this part of the river.
I like coming out here because it's a really good experience that not a lot of people get to have, but then there are times where I think, what the hell did I get myself into? And this is one of those times because I'm absolutely freezing. It's dumping rain, I'm soaked to the bone, and I'm hungry. We still have a few more kilometers to go before we can call it a day, so I'm hoping the current picks up again.
First things first is your shelter, then you can worry about getting warmer clothes on, getting your fire. Usually they go shelter, fire, water. I usually go shelter, fire, water. Now, they say booze doesn't actually warm you up, but we're not actually gonna die here. Let me tell you, when you get to camp after a crappy day like this, a shot of booze, major morale booster, okay? That's a tip for you right there. Believe me, it works.
What are you making, Tori?
Summer sausage, cheese cut up, and put it into a pita. Just hold it by the fire, crisp it up.
It's the morning of day 6. We woke up to just slamming rain. We decided, okay, whatever, let's just get out there. So we just got out, broke camp in the rain. It's time to get out there and start giving her and see if we can make some distance. Sized pike, actually that's a good eater there. There he goes. Pretty big one. Woo! Look at that one. Some rapids are easier to paddle solo, especially big waves, because you kind of float up over them. I got this awesome Northwater spray deck that will allow me to face backwards, essentially making the stern the bow, and that's what I'm going to do here on these rapids. Just ran an awesome rapid, class 3 plus. 2 people we went taking in a lot of water, and there's another rapid downriver, so not the rapid you want to joke around on.
Porcupine River, northern Saskatchewan, and I was able to jump shoot a yearling duck. Looked like it was an orphan yearling actually. Probably wouldn't have made the flight south. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna clean this duck. I'm gonna roast this over the fire, and I'm gonna do it in a way that was taught to me by the Cree natives in Moosonee, Ontario. It's called sakabon, which technically means the goose that are strung up and spun. We're just gonna let that spin. You can do a goose this way in about 2 hours. I'm thinking the duck's gonna take probably half that, maybe an hour, maybe a bit more, depending on the heat of the fire. So every once in a while, just spin it back up. Make sure it keeps spinning.
Well, that's been roasting for a while.
Thoughts?
Good.
So today we're gonna have blueberry pancakes because there are wild blueberries all around our campsite. So I just picked a bunch. Should be pretty delicious. I'm excited.
Agreed. And we're just boiling a little water here over the fire for coffee, saving our stove gas. Buck, how is that? Good? Tori jumped out to see if the portage trail started a little closer to the falls. It's always good to be careful when you're approaching a waterfall, obviously. Getting out of the boat and scouting never hurts. Okay, getting towards the end of the day here, and I decided I was going to solo a class 4. Blew it there, swam the whole thing. I wouldn't have run it unless I knew there was no boulders, no rapids downriver. Woo! That was exciting. What I do is I keep a throw bag just clipped to the bow and stern, and if I dump, I grab that throw bag right away, and that way I have the canoe on the end of a rope. I just grab this handle, pull the thing right out, and swim to shore. Great rescue mechanism. After I paddled back up the eddy to get Tori, I saw this beautiful campsite just right next to the rapid. One of the things I went ahead and did was I built this drying rack here. Just got a couple of Y sticks and another piece on top. I built up a good sized fire, and I just hung the 2 shirts I was wearing and my pants over the drying rack I built, chilled by the fire, and rotated them a couple times, and all my clothes are nice and dry. So always a great thing to do when your clothes are wet. Build a drying rack right beside the fire and get your stuff dried out. It's not very hard to do. So mosquitoes and black flies up here can get really bad. And what I bring with me is a Thermacell backpacker repeller. If the bugs are bad in the morning, I can eat my breakfast in peace, or when I'm cleaning fish is great, or when we're packing up the tent in the morning. Just having this running really helps. Good way to start out the day.
We're paddling past these massive cliffs along the shore of the Porcupine River, and we came across this cave. I believe it's called the Eye Cave because when you paddle in and you look straight up, there's a perfect hole and you can see the sky through it.
Who knows what the fascinating story of what created this, plates and erosion and ice ages and all kinds of interesting geology. Here we are on one of very few portages on this Porcupine River trip. I think we only have 4 altogether. None of the portages are very flat, but they're just really rugged. So you want to be careful. There's some slippery rocks, and a lot of it just goes over bald rock too. So you want to make sure that you can follow this trail and that you don't slip. We're just going to bang off this portage and grab a bite to eat. Tori found a nice place to eat lunch right beside the falls, so I'm excited because I'm getting hungry. When you get hungry, you know, we kind of start arguing a little bit more. Sometimes you don't have to portage the rapid, but you can't run it. So what do? You line it. Now the best way to line a boat when you're lining with one person is from a single rope from the stern, and that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm basically just gonna guide the canoe down the river using ropes as I run along shore. Lining can be pretty dangerous. I mean, you gotta be careful. There's still potential to lose your boat wash down river with your entire outfit. There's potential that you crash into a rock, that you pin, that you wrap your boat, and potential that you yourself fall in, slip into the water while you're doing it. So I always like to wear a good life jacket while I'm lining as well.
How was that?
I beat the portage.
Big time.
I'm just really enjoying this stretch of river. It's just all of a sudden gotten a lot more rugged and mountainous. Big cliffs everywhere, caves, waterfalls. Really, really cool scenery, and it seems like there's a bald eagle around every corner. So we pulled over here on the Porcupine River. It's the end of day 9. We're almost at the confluence with the Fond du Lac, and I caught more fish than I can eat today. So instead of wasting the meat, I'm going to smoke one of the pike that I caught. So I'm going to show you how that's done. Before we put it over the fire to start smoking, we're just going to add some seasoning. Our rack set up, so the next step is we're going to wrap a tarp around this whole rig to just hold the smoke in there. There is our smokehouse. Okay, so it's the next morning and we've got our fish smoking in here. Some delicious smoked fish. That's lunch for today. Now it's time to pack up and we're headed into the lower canyon on the Porcupine. This part of the river is known as Dead Man's River. The portage trails are treacherous too, so toughest part of the trip coming up. There's the falls that we're portaging around.
Straight up. No. This is the wrong trail. We blew it.
Yeah, I think the portage trail's up here.
I knew we should have scouted it.
This eddy here. It makes a lot more sense, but where we started, it looked like a perfect trail. I'm thinking, oh geez, you know, why would the trail start so far from the falls? But you look here, it's a perfect trail. And a little eddy, it must have just been an animal trail. And so we get everything ready, I make it 10 steps, boom, nothing. So I guess scouting the portage trail out is a good idea. Lesson learned. Now we're just haphazardly whipping the rest of the stuff back in the boat so I can line the boat up to where the actual portage trail is. Here's the trail! Well, let's go get her done. Stay further left, don't go that way. Come up towards me. Come up towards me. You're gonna fall! Nice. Relatively short portage, but pretty treacherous. Good size though, eh?
Pretty big.
The Dene natives in past days that used to paddle this river, they called this lower canyon Dead Man's River. A little bit of a tricky situation here. So yeah, we're gonna have to go to that eddy and then front ferry over that current and then line down the little chute to left of that rock. It doesn't look like much, but there's a lot of churning current and a hole there, and downriver is a lot of whitewater, and it's really hard for me to scout.
I'm nervous. I don't want to do any of it.
We're gonna have to perform this ferry with Buck on the boat too. It's kind of sketchy, but we're gonna have to go for it. Just gonna paddle across the river to an eddy over there. So it's not a long portage, but that's the beginning, is literally right up a slippery rock cliff.
Oh God. You did it.
We made it past another portage around a class 4 and 5, loaded the boat up. If all goes well, we'll make it to the confluence and we will have completed the Porcupine River today. However, we still got to be careful. So we're coming up to the last major rapid on the Porcupine, a class 3 plus, and I'm going to try to solo it. A lot of irregular waves, but I really gave it a good scout. And I think I'll be okay. So let's see what happens. All right, well, that went pretty well.
It looks terrifying before you get into it, but then when you're in it, you look like you have so much control that I feel like you're gonna be totally fine.
We're gonna be done the Porcupine River today, but this lower canyon here has just been absolutely freaking beautiful. And actually the last 3 or 4 days have just been spectacular, so it's been awesome despite the not so great weather that we've been having, that's for sure. Is the morning of day 11 and we have completed the Porcupine River, and it's still cloudy and horrible out. Day after day of cold, overcast, windy, rainy weather. We're kind of getting used to it. One of the many bonuses of bringing your canine friend on a canoe trip is that he licks off your plates. You know what, we can wash this before the next time we use it.
It's just especially nice when you just make dinner and you just want to go to bed and you don't have to go do dishes and you don't want to worry about bears. So you just let your own little fluffy bear lick it out before the other bears get it, right, Buck?
Now we're on the Fond du Lac. Pretty flat here again. We're out of the rugged canyon country. It's going to lead us up to Burr Falls, which is our longest and last portage of the trip. It's a mother and 2 cubs. Oh, they're so cute. Oh my God, this is so awesome. The mother bear and 2 cubs are literally right on the portage trail. This is just a little pen launcher and a little true flare bear banger on top of it. And I think I'm just going to shoot this right now to be safe. We're stopped on this little island, Burr Island. The falls actually goes down on either side. The bears were right on our portage trail. I don't think there's really all that much to be concerned about, but just to be smart, I'm going to reload my bear banger here. There's a little primer in here, and that launches the explosive. It's not going to hurt the bear, but it's definitely going to scare it. Pull this back, and you let it go. We're going to eat lunch here on this island and give them some time to leave. I don't think we really have a problem, but it's good just to be safe.
Are you terrified? Buck, stay close.
So we're just gonna do the portage and get it over with. I'm gonna bring the gun with me. We're gonna stay together. Hopefully we don't have any bear problems. I think they're scared. I think that they left because they smelled us coming. Get here, man! Hey! Beat it! Hey! Look! Hey! Beat it! Just taking a break here midway through the portage, but we had to come up a really steep hill, which wasn't easy, but now we're about to go back downhill. The hammering rain doesn't feel so great, but it is what it is. just realized it's a lot easier to shoulder the canoe when you put your arm on the inside of the gun like that and grab the canoe than the outside, or else the canoe gets in the way. Alright, one trip done. No bears. So far we've lived. I think they're scared. Not really worried. There's Burr Falls there. And an eagle's nest right in that tree.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Well, there we go. A few casts at the base of Burr Falls. Decided to just stay a bit longer and take a few casts. Caught dinner. Beautiful looking walleye right there. And it's nice to catch something different than pike up on the board with a walleye. Tori and I just got to camp. It's almost dark and the weather got incredibly shitty. And we're just at the mouth of the Fond du Lac on Black Lake, and Black Lake just looks massive, ominous, and there's just huge rollers and white caps on it as the wind's howling. And it's just terrifying because there's no way we could paddle in that. Just to try to do it would be suicide. So we're really hoping it clears up tomorrow, because we have 40K to paddle on Black Lake, and if it's like this, we're not going anywhere. Beginning of day 12, and I woke up to hear ripping winds. It was windy and wavy last night. Sunny day. Yes, great to have some sun, but the wind is strong and the waves on Black Lake are huge. And so as of right now, we are windbound at the mouth of the Fond du Lac. All we can do is just be patient and wait and not get out there and do something stupid like paddle in this, because we'd probably die. Okay, well, it's the morning of day 13. It's about 7:15 in the morning. It looks way better than yesterday, so we're gonna pack up pretty quick and make a break for it here and see how far we can make it. Yesterday, while we were waiting out the wind, I saw a moose skull with the antlers attached. It looked like a pretty big moose too, so I thought that was a really cool find. I think I'm gonna take that home as a souvenir from the trip. So we are about to push off, the last 40K of our trip. Okay, so just trolling here, using a triple swivel rig and a small spoon, and hooked into this nice lake trout. Real beauty. We're gonna save that one for dinner, and maybe we can get something even bigger today. Pretty nice lake trout. Maybe, yeah, about a 5-pounder, I'd say. Yeah, there's huge ones in this lake, but that's all we need. Alright, just hooked into this big old pike here, trolling on Black Lake. It's good size for sure. But we already got a lake trout for dinner, so I'm gonna let this one go.
Just pulling up to camp after paddling 40 kilometers today. We were hoping to get as far as we could, and it turns out we made it as far as we had to make it.
Alright, so we just got to camp, and I caught this nice lake trout, good eating size. Caught it on Black Lake today, and I'm just gonna clean it up here, and I'm gonna show you my favorite way to cook lake trout. Lemon and herb seasoning, and we're just gonna load this right up with onion slices and squeezes down the fish, and that's gonna cook up nicely. There we go. Relatively easy way to prepare fish, and just absolutely gourmet, delicious meal. Look, we already got some northern lights coming out. So here we are on our last day, and we made that crossing last night. Well, it looks like we really didn't need to, because the lake is beautifully calm, but we're glad we did just in case. And now it's a 2K paddle to the community of Black Lake, so we can pretty much say the trip is done. And there it is, the community of Black Lake, northern Saskatchewan. Our final destination. What a trip it has been. Weather wasn't on our side, but we experienced some awesome country, tons of fun rapids, great fishing, and just the enjoyment of just being out here in this truly wild country like this in northern Saskatchewan. And it's just been an unreal trip, and definitely a memory that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life, that's for sure.